What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with a random haul video. Thought I'd try to slide my video maybe in some of the live shows that are going on or going to be going on later tonight. If you're not watching this live, that's okay, such as it is with life, right? So we're just randomly looking at some haul videos, hauls rather, that I've picked up today. Was for the most part of the day on the Discovery Bay pop-up auction. Spent way too much money, but had a lot of fun and picked up some stuff. As you might hear, that is my youngest son over in the background providing the special effects or special sound effects. But anyway, so we were able to get in some good stuff today. And first off, I was a little late to the bandwagon on this one. Just looking at it, I looked at it when I seen it in the local LCS and local comic shop, and I said, "Yeah, doesn't look like something I'm really going to be interested in." And that was Kanto. But I did hear some good stuff. John's Comics with Kids recommended that and was able to pick up this. Wasn't still sure if I wanted to go back and pay cover price for all of these. Had thought I was just going to wait till the trade came out in a couple of months. And instead was able to pick this up on eBay for 12 bucks shipped. So seems I'm going to have an extra helper tonight. 12 bucks shipped for all of these. Some of them are second, third, fourth prints, whatever. I was just really more interested in the store than the collectability of it. But hey, at 12 bucks, I mean, you can't get the that's the youngest one there. Yeah, that's Jace. But anyways, so was able to pick that up. Got a chance to read it. I did enjoy it. It was not my favorite story, but it certainly wasn't the worst one I've ever read. And so, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, just personal preference, I would probably give it somewhere around an 8. So definitely up in the top tier there. Also, I did want to give a shout out to the Comic Jabroni, who I did a unboxing of his the other day. And in that unboxing, I failed to bring out the Cable card from back in the day. This is a Fleer card of Cable, which is one of my favorite X-Men there. So cool card. That came in the Jabroni box that I purchased. Also, one thing that I failed to notice that he quickly pointed out was that this Marvel 2-in-1 Jack of Hearts is a Whitman variant. So that made it a little cooler pickup for the PC. And so I got that. Also in the collection, as you know, if you've been watching my other videos, you know that I've been working on the Uncanny X-Men run, volume 1. So there are 544 issues in volume 1. I am now, after you see these issues, down to needing 14. So 14. One of those is issue 1. I was just looking at them the other day. I was on an auction last night, and the guy actually had one, and he told me what he'd sell it for. I said, I put it on my prayer list because it's a little expensive. But such as it is, that's what we're shooting for, right? And if you aim at the moon, you hit the stars, guess what? Or some such like that. Anyhow, so we got X-Men number 15. Guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, are you still looking for this?" I didn't know that he even knew I needed this. So I don't remember how that conversation got brought up, but it did. I guess it was in the stars that I should get the X-Men 15 at that price. And so I did. Sent him some PayPal money, and it came in the mail today. X-Men number 23. Another early X-Men. And I see it looks like we got a few people in the chat tonight. Thank you for stopping by, and thanks for the thumbs up. For those of you who do view this, whether you view it live or whether you view it later on, that's okay. But either way, if you would, be sure to click that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Get to that in a little while as to why that's important. But X-Men number 41. X-Men number 41. So that's another one. And there's been several of the 14 that I still need are on my radar, just kind of sniping them out. So the end to a spiritual ending. Wow, that's a neat name. Thank you for that. They are neat covers. Warlord, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. And Warlord, I am so jelly. I mean, you just have so much better luck at picking jabroni boxes than what I do. And so if you don't know, Warlord was the grand prize winner for the latest version of the jabroni box. Be sure to check his video out and see that unboxing over on his channel. I was on Big Will's, one of his auctions the other night, and I picked up a Batman 475. 475 there. That's the first appearance of the Renee Montoya. And picked this up for, I think, $5 plus shipping. And then I got another lot of books, mostly clackers, as they like to call them. But I got another lot of books. This is the main one that I kept out of it. But since I was already paying the $8 shipping, might as well throw a couple other books into the pile. And that's a Cage 1 from back in the day. This is a newsstand version. The interesting thing about this book, I remember the store I bought my original copy of this out of. It was less than a mile from here. Back in the days of spinner racks, guys. For those of you who've been around this hobby for a while, you certainly will remember that. The local comic shop that I had here in town is no longer in business. As such, most of them went out in the 90s. But even when it was here, there's only certain things that it really didn't have the depth of comics that I would have liked. And so I would constantly go to Dale Shamps and Jitney Jungle. And so some of you guys in the North, you might not recognize these names, but these were old grocery stores. And so the grocery stores would all have their various racks. And I would always want to go to them on the day that they came out. The reason for that would be some little punk kid somewhere that wasn't worried about his comics being in pristine shape like I was, would come through there and just bend the things down. And so I'd hate to get to him and say, oh, yeah, that kid's been here, right? And they just bent down every single comic book. Like you got to bend them. You can't just pull them out, look at them. I mean, what's wrong with these kids? Don't they have any raising? Two Brothers Comics in the house. Go Power Rangers. So, Two Brothers, I got something for you. And I don't know if this is Nick or if it's Dustin, but in either case, this is for you, man. This is for you. Okay. So, I guess... that is that. So, Two Brothers, you didn't answer me on the chat earlier. I was asking if you had got Burt family to come to the con there in Huntsville yet. So, Comic Con going on in a few months. Got some really cool folks coming, among those JDF. Still working on them. Well, just keep pounding away. The end to a spiritual ending. When I got comics delivered back in the day, my local comic shop used to write the address on the top cover, much to my chagrin. Yeah, I hated that. And, of course, back in the day, you could order the things in the mail and you'd wait for them. I never had the patience for that. And so I did have one subscription. It was either to X-Men or Spider-Man. I remember getting it in the mail That was after they came in like these little bitty flimsy. I mean, they weren't even as hard as these backing boards. And it's any wonder that any of those are any good shape today. Of course, back in the old days, and I've got a couple of old comics like this. They have the sub creases on them right straight down the middle where they used to fold them in half and put them in a regular envelope. So although that's interesting, along with the date stamps that you occasionally find somewhere on there, I'd really just rather it be pristine. So, but anyhow, so yeah, well, got a lot of cons on my mind. I am contemplating going to C2E2. I don't know if anybody in the chat is going to go to C2E2. There's a lot of big names going up there. I know, I think Perry's Comics is going up there too. Did you notice that? I scratched my chin and scratched my growing beard when I talked about Perry, I guess because he scratches his all the time. It's kind of like when you talk about lice and all of a sudden you start scratching your head. It's some weird inner thing. But anyway, I got a lot of cons. So Dustin, you know, there's a con going on in Birmingham too. I don't know if you plan on going to that one. There's one in Lafayette, which is about 3 hours from where I live. And that's where I'm going to plan to get JDF to go ahead and sign that there. Kevin Conroy, who did the Batman the Animated Series voice, he is going to be at that one in Lafayette. Hope to maybe get a Batman animated pop signed by him there. There's also a con in June, I believe, that's going to be in Mississippi, about an hour from my house. And so I'm hoping to, the only person they got announced there now that I'm interested in is the Lando Calrissian, Mr. Williams, and I got a pop and plan to get him to sign that. Warlord says, I am only 4 hours away from Chicago, north or south, Warlord, and would love to go, but don't think I have the time to go. You know, that's kind of my thing. I went to GalaxyCon in Louisville, Kentucky in November. Fantastic experience. Got a lot of great SIGs, which is kind of my thing right now, and a lot of great sketch covers. Met Clayton Crane, Mike Zeck, and, you know, the list goes on and on. Donnie Cates, Ryan Stegman, all those folks were there. Well, the problem with me flying was that I've got to figure out how to get all these comics back. So I had to end up having to mail some of them back because I rated some half-price books while I was there, and also rated all the shops that were there at the con, as well as getting all my signature books. So that was kind of the deal. Got to see Eastman and CGC at con together. Got some TMNT gold. I want the yellow label. Hey, you know, you mentioned that. Bueller mentioned this. There is a con south of Seattle. It's an hour south of Seattle. Forget the name of the town. I had never heard about it before, but Bueller mentioned it on his show, and Kevin Eastman's going to be there. Kevin Eastman, Peter David. There's a couple of other good names, but the way he talked, it's really more of a comic-centric con. It's not really designed towards a lot of cosplay. And so I thought about going to that one. I've got family up there in Seattle, so that would be a good excuse to go up there to Seattle and be able to check that out. For those of you who might be pop collectors, I'm not really a pop collector, although I'll get them if I don't have something for somebody to sign. I'll get a pop, just kind of have, you know, conformity. But for those of you who like pops, Everett, Washington is the home of the pops, and I did not realize that. Went to go to a comic shop while I was up there, and then there's this giant, these Funko Pops everywhere. I'm like, what in the world? And so if you want any kind of pop, just go to Everett, Washington, which is north of Seattle. Warlord says, I am in Michigan on the border of Ohio. Yeah, bet it's cold up there right now. Two Brothers says, that's cool for sure. Let me know and I'll send a book with you. LOL. Hey, no problem, man. If I end up going to that, I don't mind waiting in line, because I'm going to be waiting in line getting some of my own stuff signed, buddy. So I certainly don't mind picking anything up like that. And Although signature books are my thing right now, personally, I only get certain one signed because I'm digging these double sig books. And the problem with that is those collaborators might not be at the same con. Well, then CGC is not going to give me the yellow label unless they're all signed, right there together. Unless I get it slabbed, crack it open, get it slabbed. I don't want to go through that expense. So some of them I've chosen to keep out of the slabs for that reason. And then I actually just sent some off to PGX for the first time. I know a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about them. I have reasons for not using CBCS because of the business that I'm in my day job. I am familiar with the company that owns CBCS, and they are in some financial straits. So I kind of wonder what's going to happen there. But that's an aside. So I like to get these books double signed, and so CGCs can sometimes present a little bit of a problem. I tell you the other thing that happened to me when I went to Memphis Comic Expo back in October of last year. Chris Claremont was there, Scott Snyder, Peter David, Robbie Rodriguez, which was one of the people that helped create Ghost Spider, or Gwen. Spider Gwen. But anyway, so I said, oh, they got to see it. I got to have a yellow label, And so I went to the guy, and I had a couple of other books. I had Amazing Spider-Man 29, is it, where they first find out who the Green Goblin is, and then I had the one where Gwen Stacy dies to get done. But for the most part, it was just books that I had signed. Got signed there, and I dropped $1,100. That's right, mic drop, $1,100. And so I said to myself, I'm going to have to do something a little bit different here, because $1,100, people, is a lot of money, and I did not want to not get stuff signed. But on the other hand, $1,100, I could buy a lot of books for that. So just kind of been picking and choosing, and then I guess settling for non-yellow label CGC, but I don't want the green label. And I really don't know. CGC really holds the top tier, right? Their cases are the best. Everybody likes their labels, so on and so forth. I really don't understand why CGC just doesn't say, hey, I'm fixing to put my competition out of business. Because all CGC would have to do would be to say, hey, look, if we've got a signature expert that 99% can say this is a definitive signature of said artist or said creator, and we're going to pop a yellow label on it. Here's a fee. People would pay that extra fee. And that's the only thing CBCS and PGX have got going for them. All of a sudden, people go, man, forget them. I'm going to CGC. So I really don't understand why they haven't got onto that bandwagon yet. Maybe they're just granting PGX and them a little bit of mercy. And there's another one or two grading companies out there. If anybody in the chat recognizes them, feel free to shout them out, but I don't think of them off of hand. Two Brothers Comics says, awesome. That would be great. I got to roll out. We are out to do this Mortal Kombat thing again. Talk to you soon, bro. Well, look, I don't know who won the thing with Mortal Kombat last night, but, the whole get over here. You hear my youngest son's providing some drama in there. Even as we speak. But back to the con thing. So I've been kind of contemplating going to New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con. And if anybody has any preferences, let me know. But I do kind of dig the smaller cons, just because Louisville is the biggest con that I've been to personally. That's not necessarily saying much. Because back in the day when I collected, cons were things in hotel rooms, and there was no such thing as cosplay back then. It's just a whole bunch of long boxes that you could dig through. So Louisville was the biggest con that I went to, and I had fun, and it wasn't overly crowded. A lot of the people there were doing cosplay and wanting to see celebs, and so they went over there to their side, and it was just boggled my mind that I could walk straight up to Greg Capullo's table and get my stuff signed, or to Scott Steiner went there, Donnie Cates or Ryan Stegman's table and get my stuff signed. I'm like, where's everybody at? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, just take it, right? Or Mike Zeck or John Beatty or some of these other guys. James Galagos, hello, son of Concrete. Thank you for stopping by. And we're just kind of rambling. I was talking about some of my recent pickups earlier, James, and just kind of rambling about comic conventions. But I do like the smaller comic conventions just because, and I like the idea of not being just, one in a million people in a line. And that's the only thing even though I'd be able to see everybody I want to see at one place and all that kind of stuff at a New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con or something huge like that, you wouldn't have the time, I don't think, to sit there and talk to the artists. And the cons that I've been to, even like Memphis when Chris Claremont was there, they're just sitting there talking to you. They don't have nothing to do but talk to the fans. And since they've got plenty of time, David Finch is another one. Adam Kubert went to a con in New Orleans, and he was down there. And I can buy signature books offline, sure enough, but I can't really get that experience with it. And in my mind, when I go out on the hunt, especially if I go out into the wild and I find a book, bam, this is the book that I've been wanting. This is the book that I've been needing. I negotiate a good price, so that sticks out in my mind. And then if I then in turn get that signed, the experience of getting it signed is another added benefit to me because I'm not speculating. And so, when you can have the memory of picking up the book and getting it signed, talking to the creator. Peter David is an interesting one to talk to because he doesn't charge you anything for his stuff. He says that Neil Adams tries to tell him why he should be charging for his signatures. And, I didn't tell him to listen to that douchebag. I didn't say anything like that, and Neil Adams was a nice enough guy, just kind of rubbed me wrong when I go to a con and I'm like, man, you're awesome, great art. And I'm getting them to sign 2 books. And look, can you take a picture with me? And he charges $50 a sig. And then he charges you $30 just to take a picture with him. And I'm like, look, man, okay. So he gets on these political rants and I guess it's a free country. He's able to do that kind of stuff. But I noticed at the Wizard World that I went to in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, met Jim Steranko. Steranko didn't have hardly nobody at his table. And he's kind of this ladies' man. He's 81 years old. Told me he didn't take pictures with anybody but hot chicks. That's fine. I heard other people say the same. He had told them the same thing. But he's like, man, what are you getting into? What do you like? And I was just getting to converse with him. And that's really interesting. Neil Adams didn't do that. And, it was interesting to me that at Louisville, at Wizard World, either one of those that Neil Adams has been at, really didn't have that many people in his line. So don't know if that's speaking that fans don't like his art, his attitude, or what it speaks to, and feel free to comment if you've got an idea as to what the issue might be there. But getting Peter David, back to Peter David. So Peter David does not charge. He just says, hey, give me a tip. And I throw him, $20, because most of them charge you $10, $20 for a signature. So, I pull the money out and throw it in his little bin. But was the X Factor that I picked up. And if y'all are familiar with X Factor, I think that's volume 2, where Multiple Man and Siren, which is Banshee's daughter, had a kid. And so the problem with that was, Peter told me, was that Marvel says, hey, man, you can't have these mutants having mutant babies because this was during the time of before Second Coming. So Hope Summers was yet to be born. Scarlet Witch had uttered the fateful words, no more mutants, and so no mutants were being born in the world at that time. So Marvel says, hey, wait a minute. And Peter's like, wait a minute, I've done all this stuff up. She's gotten pregnant, and we're about to have a baby here, and now you're telling me I can't have this baby. And so he's figuring, what can I do? What can I do? And he says, and it just came to him. And if you remember, it's got the Multiple Man baby on the cover of it. And anyway, he said that it came to him to um, have the baby. It should be a spoiler alert because this is an older book, but so multiple man goes to hold his child for the first time and absorbs him in to himself, kind of like he does all his dupes. And of course, that was in between him and Siren, but that was how Peter David was able to work around the Marvel no mutants at that time edict. So stories like that are really interesting. I got Bob McLeod to sign my New Mutants. Chris Claremont's going to be at the con in Huntsville in April, and I'm going to get that one signed. So I've got it double signed. Ron Lim, super, super nice guy. I've heard some bad things about Jim Starlin, but Jim Starlin, he signed my Infinity Gauntlet, the comic, and also the Gauntlet itself. And so, that was just interesting. But I don't know if anybody in the chat has any experiences at any cons, but feel free to share. But I'm thinking about going to Fan Expo, which is a con in March in Dallas, Texas. And so I live in Mississippi, hence the name Southern Comic Geek. But I'm 8 hours from Dallas. And so I would drive to Dallas. And so what I'm told is at Fan Expo, it's all right there in the hotel. So you stay in the hotel and you walk across. And so it sounds like a fun deal. And there are going to be a lot of people there. So it sounds like it could be fun. So I've been thinking about going to that one. There's one in February that's north of Dallas. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go to, but it has Bart Sears, Bob Layton, a lot of the Valiant guys, and I collect all the 90s era Valiant. And so I hate to look at this, Mr. JB at Discovery Bay Comics popping in, doing a little lurking. Man, JB, after all the stuff today, I'm surprised you're even still standing. I figured you'd be taking a nap in a lounge chair somewhere. Kick back, drinking you a cold one or something. But anyway, so those are some of the cons that I'm thinking about going to. And Dustin at Two Brother Comics mentioned that he would like to get me to get Kevin Eastman to sign if I end up going at one. And I don't mind doing that, I probably wouldn't ask that from another community member just because I like I said earlier, the experience of going. But, hey, if that's not your thing, you just want to say, I've got a signature, I don't mind doing that. Just hit me up. And we can do that. But that's all I've got for tonight, folks. I know some other people have got some streams that are fixing to get kicked off, so I appreciate you stopping by. But before I go, I did want to mention a reminder about my 200 subscriber giveaway. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, I do have a giveaway once we hit 200 where we will put you in the randomizer and put you for the winner getting a choice of one of 3 different books. If you don't know what those 3 books are, be sure to check out my other video, either the 200 subscriber giveaway video or the giveaway update video that just dropped not that long ago. But looking to hit 200 subscribers. I'm at 179, so 21 short subscribers away. And JB at Discovery Bay says, cheers, just sitting back and enjoying a cocktail and some great comic book content on YouTube. Always a great way to spend your time. And as JB likes to say, hey, what kind of other community do you have where people are jumping in? And 180, I like to, I'm glad to hear that. What other community out there do you have people popping into pop-up shops and saying, hey, we're going to buy this round, or hey, here's this, or hey, here's that. It was interesting. There was a couple of auctions that I felt like on JB's show today that I had earned. But, I was like, hey, man, you want that book as bad as I do, you take it. And, there was no arguing about it. And so it's great to be in that kind of community where you just enjoy good art, good, writing. and can just, in this world, in this political upheaval that we have in the United States, even though the United States is the greatest country that you could live in. Sorry, gray man, I know you don't live here, but even though this is the greatest country we can live in, we have a lot of riffraff and yan people at each other's throats. It's good to just be able to kick back away from that and just kind of enjoy and realize that we have more in common than we have different from each other. So, and I think that's what the comic book community does. Hashtag comic book cousins. JB, are you selling those shirts? I know some people were lucky enough to give them away. Unfortunately, I didn't win one large size, but I didn't win one, but hey, maybe one day. JB, are you selling those on your deal? Yeah. But so yeah, so they say we're at 180 subscribers. So I'm only 20 away. I was hoping to hit that before the week's out. We'll do a video giving that away. Yes, they are for sale with free shipping. Free shipping, folks. You can't beat that with a stick. But hopefully we'll be at that pretty soon, and we'll pop in with another video giving that away to some lucky YouTube subscriber. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends so we can give it away. Maybe you'll be the winner. So if you share it with your friends, maybe you'll be the winner sooner. Link in the description of each video. Code DISCO, 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 DISCO. So anyway, had a good time tonight. Thanks, folks, for stopping by. Until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Goodbye.